Hey, one of the things that I hear from coaches all the time is how can I get more consistent clients in the door every single week? And today I'm going to share you three different building blocks that you can put together for your coaching business that's going to get you client leads every single week if you put it into a practice correctly. So I'll walk you through these three specific areas. I'll give you examples and feel free to put them into place right away, and you'll see some great results. So, number one thing in that I really sit down with my coaching clients anytime we start work is number one, what is your audience? Who is your audience? And how can we be more specific in terms of who you're going after? So, one of the things that I see all the time, especially in looking at coaching websites, and some other marketing material that they have out there, is that it's very general. They're trying to market to the masses. And really the thought there is the more people that I'm marketing to, the greater chance that I have of potentially getting an opportunity. But it's really the opposite, because if you're trying to, go out to a wide audience, so think about it as you're kind of standing in the middle of a crowded room and you're trying to shout out to everybody about your coaching services, it's not really going to resonate with everybody. Instead, you really want to focus a little bit more on a specific area of the market. So those specific people, kind of think about it as kind of having a one-to-one conversation with somebody in a crowded room. By doing that, by being more specific, you're going to find out what are the words and phrases and the language that really resonates with them. And I think even more importantly, like, what are their pain points right now that they're dealing with? What is the one key outcome that they really want the most? All those specific things are really important, and they kind of magnify your marketing message. They make it resonate with those specific people. So even though you're kind of targeting a smaller group of people, your marketing message is going to resonate much higher. You're going to get higher conversions. You're going to get more results out of that. So it doesn't make intuitive sense that you go after a smaller market and you get better results, but it's all about kind of speaking directly to that person and making them certain that you are the right person for them. So you have to realize, especially in the coaching industry, before they come to you, before they come to your website or your marketing message, they probably struggled with those pain points for a long period of time. For some your prospects, it might have been years where they're maybe reading some self-help books, maybe they've hired other coaches in the past, but they just haven't gotten the results that they're looking for. So they're really skeptical, and they're really asking the question, can this coach help me in my unique situation? Because nobody else has been able to help me. So by being more specific, you can really speak directly to them and kind of answer that question for them as much as possible. So audience is very important. Second thing is, what is your offer? So think about, again, we have our specific audience. We want to have a specific offer that really speaks to them directly. So again, knowing exactly what their pain points are, what is that one key outcome that they want the most, is really important. So the way to think about outcomes is really in three different buckets. You have wealth, you have health, and you have relationships. So in anything that you're really targeting, it'll kind of fall within those three buckets. So it might be something that they really hate their career, and that kind of falls within the wealth category. Relationships are always something that aren't as tangible for people. Maybe they don't realize as much of how much their relationships are in trouble until it's too late. But you can kind of speak to those pain points, whether it's in their marriage or somewhere else, that you can help solve. So think about those three buckets and where your audience kind of fits in from a priority perspective in terms of what they're looking for. So you got your one key, you got your specific audience, you have the one key outcome that they're looking for. And then you have to talk through how you're going to get them that transformation. Like, how are you going to take them where they are right now and get them to that outcome? So in that, you really need some type of process that you really need to talk through. And I try to keep it as simple as possible. Think about your process as maybe a 3 or 4 step process at most. You won't want to be going to your audience and saying, I've got 12 steps, because your audience really wants something that is very easy to go through and is going to get them results as quickly as possible. Because again, your audience is a much more focused on that outcome. They're not as much focused or interested in kind of that process of working with you. It's not to anything to offense to you. Think about anytime you go on a vacation and you have to travel a long distance, you have to jump on a long plane flight. You're not looking forward to that plane flight. You're looking forward to getting to that final destination. So If you're talking about kind of the nuts and bolts of your process, you're almost like marketing to somebody and saying, can't wait for that exciting plane ride. For a lot of people, they just don't enjoy that part of the process. So again, in your marketing, you kind of have to focus on those key outcomes. So, but a lot of people know that they're not going to get to that outcome overnight. So, take weight loss as an example. Most people know that they're not going to lose 30 pounds in the next week if they're doing it at a sustainable level. So you kind of have to walk them through what are those steps along the way to get to that outcome. And that's really important. So think about in that outcome, what are those 3 or 4 things? Like in that first step, what is the first obstacle or roadblock that they have to get over to get closer to their outcome? And think about within your offer, how you can give something away, maybe for free, give away some free value to get them closer to the outcome that they're looking for. So that's a big part of, getting in front of people, building that trust and connection is, what's the one key tidbit or bit of information that you can get them moving along in the right direction? So having prospects that have a lot of momentum, that have built up that trust with you because you've kind of given them a key piece of information that they didn't have before, is a great way to differentiate yourself as part of your broader offer. And then think about those other steps and roadblocks and obstacles along the way to get to that outcome and describe it for your audience so they know what is kind of that roadmap along the way. What are they going to have to go through and how can you help them? How does your solutions kind of line up with what they've experienced in the past? And then really to break out and differentiate your offer as much as possible, put some intellectual property on your offer. So come up with a unique name that kind of brings your offer to life a little bit more. So make it a little bit more benefit oriented so that when somebody sees that name of your offer and your process, they kind of immediately associate it with the thing that they want the most. And then again, as part of your kind of roadblocks and obstacles, those easy solutions that you're getting along the way, puts you some unique names in there as well. So to give an example, in my own business, I have a process that's called the Hive method. So the way I thought about it is, as you're a coach, you want as many leads as possible coming in your door every week and every month. So think about the hive where you're kind of the queen bee sitting in the middle and you have all these other bees kind of swarming around you. Think about those prospects as kind of your bees that are kind of naturally attracted to you. So it's the same way. I'm kind of just bringing that to life in terms of for coaches, like they want more, clients and prospects on a weekly basis. And this kind of just brings it to life for them. And then in each of those components, I'm thinking about what are those roadblocks and obstacles along the way. So the first one for me is getting more attention for these coaches, getting more eyeballs on their website, getting more people interested in taking a look at their business. So that's what I talk about my instant spotlight method. So using a couple different techniques from a marketing perspective, either online or elsewhere, to get a little bit more attention to your business. And once you do that, that's when I can use some of my further methods in terms of increasing your conversion and using kind of leveraging your time as well to kind of create group and courses as well to kind of further along and scale your business as much as possible. So that's kind of how I go out to my market and kind of put my offer forward. But obviously make it personalized to your specific audience, what they're looking for, what they're struggling with, and how your offer can kind of line up with that. So it's all about the audience, but also having a suitable offer that kind of lines up kind of in alignment with that. And the final thing is really your copy or your marketing message. Like, how do you kind of bring it all together so it kind of really very much resonates with people? So again, knowing their pain points, knowing that one key benefit, but also thinking about that one key question that prospects always have. Can this coach help me in my unique situation? So you're going to have other things like proof. So testimonials are a great way to do that. So you can talk about how you're the best coach in the world, but if you don't have other people that can kind of back you up, that's really important. So people want to hear from people that are just like them about how you kind of move them along in their process, how you help them in their life and get them a similar trajectory that they're looking for. So again, I always recommend getting video testimonials from your clients, especially when they get results. So immediately when they get results, that's when you should be asking them for a video testimonial, really just sharing more about their story. It's going to be less about you as the coach and more about their story. What were some of the pain points that they were dealing with before they met with you? What was kind of the process of getting them results? and what does their life look like at the end of it. Another way to kind of associate your marketing message with your audience is thinking about your about me story. So you might have experiences in your own personal life that kind of your audience can associate with. So think about those specific moments in your life where you might have shared some of the pain points that your prospects are going through. Take us to a specific moment that you're dealing with when your pain point was maybe at its highest, and kind of bring your audience there. Like, what was going on in that situation? What were your thoughts, feelings, and emotions as you went along? Kind of really take us there in your head and how it kind of progressed. And then talk through how that transformation really came through. How did you eventually become a coach? How did you kind of help people along the way? And how did that kind of form the process that you have today and that approach that you have? So people are kind of getting to know you as a person, but also getting some of the origin story of what your process is all about. And then talk about how your life has kind of changed as a result. Again, giving your prospects a little bit more hope of how they can go through a similar situation. So, but I recognize for some coaches that personal experience isn't applicable. So maybe they don't have a specific experience that's just like their prospects. So if you don't, and your business is a little bit further along, think about those clients that you've helped in a very similar situation. About take us to a specific moment that your client would have had where their pain point was at its highest, and how you helped them along as a guide in finding those transformations and eventually getting through to that life that they really wanted. So those are kind of the three key things. Again, being very specific with your audience, creating an offer that is very specific and kind of lines up with what they're looking for. And again, having a marketing message that kind of ties it all together. That again is very much audience focused and is less about you and you as a coach. We want everything to be more outwardly focused, more all about the audience. It's not to say it's a bad thing, but your audience and prospects are going to be a little bit more selfish. They're going to be thinking about themselves when they come to your website or your marketing message. So we want to speak to that. We want to get into their head and really build that relationship, that know, like, and trust factor, so they know right away that you are the perfect person for them, and they have the confidence to know that you can take them where they want to be. So with that, use that stuff, and hope it's helpful.